today. Just elections are right around the corner. Again, I'm Denise Martinez-Scanziani, and this is the opportunity that I provide to everyone who's interested to basically just come on, watch me stream, ask me questions, join me for a live chat for about 30 minutes. If you remember, I'm running for Circuit Court Judge in Miami-Dade County. The elections are August 18th. And so we are really literally right around the corner. The elections for all municipalities, for all cities and everything have closed already. So we should be getting our ballot numbers this coming week, hopefully. And it's funny because, when you run, there's a lot of candidates. You're going to see the ballot. And everybody, it used to be the punch number, that we used to, we would press when we would vote. Well, now there's ballot. You still have ballot numbers. And those will be set to come out. Some folks just want to know the number, and you'll be hearing that as soon as I get it. I'll be publishing that and letting everybody know. But we are right around the corner. The sample ballots for Miami-Dade County elections are going to be coming up, and you can actually go on the Department of Elections website, because not everybody will have the same exact ballot. It just depends on what's up for election in your area. For the judges, however, every single voter, every single ballot in Miami-Dade County will have the judges on the ballot. But if you live, for example, in Miami Springs or in Miami Gardens or in Key Biscayne, there's some local elections there that do not apply to the entire county. So those are really, there's a lot of neat tools, a lot of things that you can research ahead of time to be election ready. So today I want to talk a little bit about that. I want to talk to you about the resources available to everybody in the Miami-Dade County Elections website. I have it open here, and if you go to miamidade.gov, you can actually, from there, you can get to the elections websites, and it will give you so much information. It'll tell you who's running. It'll tell you what's on the ballot. It'll tell you, I'm not sure if there are any amendments actually on the ballot, but sometimes there are. So all of that is available to you, and you can actually put in your information. You can put in your zip code, and you can put in your name, and it will give you actually print out a customized sample ballot for yourself, which I thought was super exciting. So first things first, everybody's asking me, well, it's coronavirus. We're all on lockdown. How is this going to work for us? Are we're going to have early voting? Are we going to have election? I mean, what's going on? And so when you contact the Department of Elections, the interesting thing is, well, we're not sure. I mean, so far so good. But they've also been very clear that everything can change overnight. So I think the priority definitely is that everybody is staying healthy and staying safe. But it's also, we have a democratic process, and the elections need to move forward. So stand by, stay tuned. As soon as I get information, I will be sharing it, and social media, all the different locations will be saving, we'll be sharing that. We've actually dropped the link for the Miami-Dade Elections Department website there. From that link, not only can you find out, first of all, make sure you're registered to vote. My daughter is turning 18 this year, and she is going to be voting for the first time. So the first step is register to vote. That is number one, okay? And if you've registered to vote, then you can vote one of three ways. You can vote by mail-in ballots, the absentee ballots. So thank you, Christina, for posting about that. Thank you for joining. So you can request your mail-in ballot. It used to be called an absentee ballot, but you can actually request it. And it's a simple request. You go online, you can request your vote by mail, you do it online, and then you will get an absentee ballot. You can check if you want it just for this coming election, or if you want it for the next two elections, which are the August and the November elections. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you so much. So you can request for one election or for the next two elections. They only let you request it 2 elections at a time. So once you've gotten 2 absentee ballots, you need to request it again. However, I will say that if you registered to vote when you were 18 and you have not ever updated your signature, then one thing that the elections department does want everybody to know is that you should request your mail-in ballot by signature, because they do have to match your signatures when you vote. And if you have a mail-in ballot with a signature, I mean, I don't know about you all, but I don't sign like I signed when I was 18 or 20 or even when I was 30. So our signatures change over time. So you want to make sure that your signature matches whatever it is that you are requesting, so that when your mail-in ballot comes in, your vote actually gets counted. So that's something that's important that I think everybody needs to remember. And super important to do if you think that you're not going to be able to make it out to early voting or to election day. Okay. The other issue is we have early voting. So early voting is still scheduled to happen. I'm pulling up the information right now. As of right now, for the primary for the August election, the elections are going to happen. The early voting will start August 3rd, and it will continue for 2 weeks through August 16th. Now, the thing about early voting, which is great, you don't actually have to go to your precinct. There's about a little bit over 20 sites that you can go to, so 20 locations that you can go to vote. And so it doesn't matter where you live in the county. If you happen to work, let's say, in Kendall, and you go to the Kendall Library in Hammocks, you can actually vote there. And when you give them your information, they will give you your ballot based on where you live. And those are going to be open. I'm just going to give some of the dates here, but I also dropped the link for you all for this calendar. I'm going to be dropping it in the comment section, so it's easy for everybody to find. But for example, the first week from August 3rd through August 9th, you have the early hours, the morning hours. So you can vote from Monday through Friday. You can vote from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. at any of these 20 plus locations. Then Saturday and Sunday, they're open from 8 to 4. Then the second week, it's open from August 10th through August 15th. It's open from 11 a.m. until 7 p.m. So they try to cover the 2 weeks. Basically, within those 2 weeks, you can vote from 7 a.m. To 7 p.m. They're not open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day, but the first week it's in the morning from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then the second week it's from 11 a.m. until 7 p.m. And then Saturdays it's always open from 8 to 4. So that's a great way to actually get your voting done and accomplished, and that way you don't have to think about it. Early voting is awesome. I think I usually do early voting because early voting usually there's not a lot of lines. There's a lot of locations. I'm going to shout out some of these locations now. However, we've dropped the link in the comment section below. So you can, so you'll be able to find it as well. But for example, if you live in Coral Gables, you can go to the Coral Gables Library. If you live in Homestead, there's the Homestead Community Center. If you live in Hialeah, you have the JFK Library is an early voting location. If you live in Miami Lakes, you can vote in the Miami Lakes Community Center. There's a couple of locations in Kendall. For example, the Kendall Branch Library on 91st and 97th Avenue is a early voting location. Also, the Hammocks Library is another location. Then you have the North Dade Regional Library up on Northwest 183rd Street. That's another early voting location. You have Government Center downtown. So if you work, So if you work downtown, you can vote on your lunch break. If you're going to the office. So if you're up in Aventura, you have the Aventura Branch Library. Sorry, I keep getting a call and I keep getting interrupted. If you are in Miami Beach Library. So actually, no, Miami Beach. I want to say it's Miami Beach City Hall. I apologize. So anyway, what I'm trying to say, the point is that you have over 20 locations throughout all of Miami-Dade County. Whether you work or live near one of these locations, or whether you're running errands on the weekend and you happen to be driving by one of these locations, you can easily just get off, and you need to basically just vote. I mean, that's all I can tell you. You can vote. One of the things that happen during early voting is that in early voting, you don't have a lot of lines because there's a lot of back and forth and flow of traffic. So it's a really, really good opportunity. So if you think you'll be able to leave your house, or you don't want to do the mail-in ballot, early voting is a great opportunity. And then, of course, we have election day. So the last day of early voting actually is Sunday, August 16th. Monday, there's no voting. And then election day is Tuesday, August 18th. In that case, you actually have to go to your actual precinct that's on your voter's registration card. Okay. So I'm sharing all of this, with you all because really I'm trying to get out the vote. Obviously, I'm asking for you to vote for me and believe in me. But we have many local elections, and I'm going to say this over and over and over again. One of the things that I think we sometimes forget, because there is a lot of focus on the national elections and the presidential and Congress, and I will not take anything away from that. That is very important. But your local elections impact you very directly. Not only the judicial races, we have the county mayor race. All of Miami-Dade County will have elections. You have the commissioner races. I want to say all of the commissioners for Miami-Dade County are up for election. I think. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that that's the case. Then you have elections for primaries for state reps and things of that nature. And then, of course, you have the judges. So you have 7 judicial races that you'll be able to vote for. In each particular race, you have you'll have 2 candidates, so you can vote in 7 of the judicial races. Thank you, Christina. Yes, the state attorney actually has an election this year. So it is very, very important. These are important elections. These are elections that are going to impact all of us who live in Miami-Dade County immediately. I focus on the judicial elections because I'm running for judge, and I've said this before, and I want to say this again. Judges, although judges run on a nonpartisan ticket. You don't want judges who are partisan. Obviously, you want judges who are impartial. You want judges who are going to follow the law, who are going to be unbiased. That's what we need. That's what we deserve in our judicial system. But judges will impact your life that very moment when they make a decision on a case that you're involved in. You come face to face with a judge in a divorce case. You come face to face with a judge because maybe you entered into a contract to buy a house, and then the seller doesn't want to sell you the house, so you have to sue the seller. Now that you're in front of a judge. A judge has to make a decision. You get into a car accident, and you've been injured or damaged, or you have property damage, and you can't resolve it outside of court. Then you have to file a lawsuit. Well, there's a judge there involved as well. So all of this, I'm telling you, is that judges are neglected on the ballot because judges are nonpartisan. Yet I firmly believe that judges are one of the most important elected officials because judges will impact the lives of our community members immediately. If I'm a family lawyer, I'm board certified in marital and family law. I see it. I will be in a courtroom. We will be fighting for a child custody. The judge makes a decision that day, and that day, one parent has gotten what they asked for, and the other parent has not. So judges, I can't stress it enough how important it is to elect qualified judges who understand what it is to serve the community, because that's another important point. This is a position of service. Judges we are judges. Hopefully, yes, me. I will one day. Hopefully, yes, I'm going to be elected, be a judge. So we have to understand that we come from a position of service. It's not a job, it's not a paycheck. It's a position of service, serving the community, doing right by our community, making sure that everyone is seen and is heard when they enter into a court of law. That's what due process is. That's what we are all entitled to by virtue of where we live in this country. We are entitled to due process. We are entitled to have the right to be seen and to be heard. And I can't stress that enough, that you want judges who will do that. From my perspective, some of you who've been on here before and you've listened to me speak, one of the things that I've repeatedly said is, I'm not coming to you in a vacuum. I'm not coming to you, I feel like this is my next step as a lawyer. No, my life history, my life experience, where I come from, where I started, the path that I took to get here is what has moved me to desire to bring this service to my community. Okay. Remember, I've been an attorney for over 20 years. I'm board certified. I'm one of only 33 marital and family law board certified attorneys in Miami-Dade County. That means that the Florida Bar has designated me as an expert in my area of law that I focus my practice on. And those are my qualifications, my legal qualifications. But it's not only about, work experience. There's life experience. I am the first of my family to go to college. I'm the oldest of 5 siblings. My parents were working parents. So I understand what it is, for families to struggle. I understand what it is, just something as simple as when you're scheduled to go to court, be on time as a judge, right? Be on time. That shows that you have respect for those who are coming before you, not only the lawyers, but for that single dad who had to take time off of work, or that college student who had to miss class to appear in your courtroom. That shows respect to the community. That shows respect for what you are doing, and I think that that's important. I think that that's super important. I also think that judges who are impartial, judges who are firm but fair. It's about being fair. That's what is the underlying foundation of what we do in our judicial system, right? We want fairness. So how do you treat people fairly? How do you treat attorneys fairly? How do you treat the staff members of the court fairly? How do you treat every person of the public who comes from outside into your courtroom to have a case heard? How do you treat them fairly? Well, you give them the right to be seen and to be heard. That is what due process is. That is what we are guaranteed as participants in our judicial system. That is what I'm passionate about. I've often, one of my favorite appeals, I'm an appellate attorney as well. One of my favorite appeals that I've ever done, and I'm very proud of, is the fact that I had a case where my client wasn't represented at the time of the trial, and he appears at trial. It was a child custody issue, and he had essentially had custody of his son prior to that day because he had the majority of the time. And they go to trial, and in that courtroom, when there was a court reporter, the court reporter, takes down everything that everybody says and puts it in a transcript. So thankfully that was there, because otherwise you can't prove what happened. And what happened is that nobody testified. The only folks who spoke that day in that transcript, in that courtroom, I wasn't there, but the court reporter transcript shows it. It was the mother's attorney, it was the judge, and then a couple of questions were asked of my client, the father. Now, this is not a statement about pro mom or pro dad, or this is not even a statement about whether the judge did the right thing or not. That's not what this is about. What it's about is that if you understand what I've shared with you, you'll know that there was no evidence, right? There was no evidence. An attorney does not give evidence. An attorney makes argument. So the mom didn't testify. The father didn't testify. And then the judge made a decision on child custody, basically on the word of an attorney, just on argument of an attorney. That did not give my client the right to be seen or to be heard. And so when after that, of course, then he decided he couldn't afford an attorney before that, but then he said he put some money together and he just kind of put, his efforts. And I did it honestly really to help him because I was so moved. I abhor injustice. And I thought that was just unfair. And maybe the outcome would have been the same if the evidence was presented. But the point is that the evidence wasn't presented, right? He didn't have the right to be seen or to be heard. So when I heard about the case, I said, I have to help him. So I did what we call a motion for rehearing. And I gave the judge, I pointed it out to the judge. And I said, Judge, this is not what needed to have happened. You didn't get any evidence. You didn't receive any evidence. This is not okay. And the judge thought that he had followed the law, and that's fine. And that's his right as the judge. But it's also my right as my client's attorney to appeal him. And so I did. And I did it for free because I could not stand that this poor client of mine had not been given the opportunity to be seen and to be heard. He had been denied due process. That is the bottom line. That's what, you hear lawyers and you hear due process and you hear the commentary where if you hear about it on the news or you hear about fairness, due process is that he was protected. He had the right to be seen and to be heard. And so guess what? I appealed him, and I appealed him pro bono. I didn't charge him a dime. Said, I am going to do this. And what happened? I took him up on appeal, and the judge got reversed. And that means that the appellate court told the judge, I get it. I understand what you were trying to do, but you were wrong. You couldn't do that. So it was reversed and then sent back to the trial judge to actually have a trial and have my client have the opportunity to be heard. So that's one example of who I am and why I do what I do. It is so important for our society. It is so important for our community. It is so important that we have judges who are fair, judges who are impartial, judges who give everyone the right to be seen and to be heard, judges who are respectful, judges who will understand that, hey, it's not okay to show up 2 hours late, to a hearing. It's just not. When you have people waiting, unless there's an emergency or something like that, it's not okay. That shows lack of respect, I think, to the people that appear before you. It shows lack of respect to the attorneys that appear before you. Not only that, it costs people more money. So my passion to serve is really to do right by our community, to serve this amazing county that we live in. We live in such a diverse county. If you ever want to learn how much diversity there is in this county, run for office in a county-wide race. Because I will tell you, you can go to Homestead in Florida City, and you can go to Key Biscayne, you can go to Miami Gardens, you can go to North Miami, Kendall, Westchester, and Aventura, the beach. And we live in such a diverse community. And it's important that every one of us living in this county have the right to be seen and to be heard. So I think that I got a little passionate today because this is the kind of thing that moves me. This is the kind of thing that just propels me to do this and to do what I think I can for my community by giving back. I've received so much. I went to college to UF. I went on a scholarship. My parents couldn't afford to pay my way. So I did, I got scholarships. I've worked since I turned the age of 14. I've worked. I worked at Santa's Enchanted Forest. For those of you who know Santa's Enchanted Forest, I worked in in some concessions as a teenager in high school. I worked when I went to college. I did all that. So I, where I am in my career now that I have my firm and I have my staff, my associates, and I'm so blessed and I know what I have. I want to give back. I want to give back so much. I'm very passionate about that. And I love it. I love it. I'm passionate about the law. I'm passionate about, the rule of law. I'm passionate about, knowing the law and doing right. And no judge is perfect. No judge is perfect. No person is perfect. But I will tell you that I will do my very best and I understand the seriousness of this position. I do not take it lightly. So as I continue on this campaign trail and this virtual campaign trail, because we've had Zoom meet and greets and we've had, the candidates corner every Saturday at 2 p.m., no matter what, I promise you, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here answering your questions. I ask you to tell a friend. Tell a friend that early voting starts August 3rd. Right as of right now, it starts August 3rd. Election day is August 18th. You can still request your ballot by mail. We've dropped the link in the comments section, so you can go in there. They're not generating sample ballots just yet, but hopefully by this week you can even go in there, request your own sample ballot. So before the ballots are even released, you can put in your information and it'll populate what your ballot will look like based on where you live. Okay, so I know there's some special elections, I believe in Miami Springs and Key Biscayne and Miami Gardens. So they're holding some special elections there. And then there's the countywide races. The state attorney has a race that's countywide. The county mayor has a race that's countywide. There's commissioners that depending on where you live in the county, they're up for election. The judicial races are up for countywide. So there's a lot of local election, and that's up for election up in this ballot in August. I'm not taking away from November. November is an important election as well. But August is our local election. It is our primary, and it is for a lot of the races, it's the only election. For example, in my race, it's just me and my opponent, and that's it. So whatever happens August 18th, that's it. And I need 50% plus one. That's all I need. So I just wanted to, again, thank you so very much for continuously coming on board, sharing this. I know that many of you come watch it live and then you share it again. It's so important to me as a former teacher, I'm an educator at heart, to share and to educate as much as possible. And the more I speak to folks, I understand that a lot of people don't know what this is about, don't know what these elections are about, don't know what judicial races are about. So that's why I do this. I do this not only to tell you about me and to educate everybody and give you information about me and why I believe I'm the most qualified candidate in this race, but also to educate you about the elections in general. So I wanted to just give a shout out to some of you folks who've been commenting. Dora, thank you so much. I appreciate so much you coming on and your support and sharing. Let's see, who else is on here? All right, and then Christina, Olga, you have elections in Miami Springs, so don't forget. And let's see, Maria, Christina, Daniel, thank you so much, Brian. Thank you so much for once again joining me and for listening to me, for asking your questions. Today's topic I kind of shared because of a lot of questions that I had been getting about the upcoming elections. So I will just remind you once again, August 18th is election day. However, you can vote early starting August 3rd. As of right now, those early voting sites will be open. We've dropped the link there for you. And you can also always request your mail-in ballot. August 18th, there is an election before November, August 18th. If these are countywide races, at least the judicial races are. So if you live in Miami-Dade County, or maybe you don't live in Miami-Dade County, but you know someone who lives in Miami-Dade County, please share, spread the word, tell a friend. I say this a lot, but tell one friend, tell 10 friends, and ask each friend to tell 10 more friends. And that's how we build it up. Unfortunately, August has a very low turnout. Usually about 12% of the voters come out. And they're so important. These elections are so very important. I'm pretty much, I feel like this was 2 minutes, but it was actually, we were on for 30 minutes. So my promised 30 minutes is wrapping up. And again, I just want to tell you, Denise Martinez-Scanziani, I am running for circuit court judge. Please tell a friend. The elections are August 18th. And I will be here again next Saturday at 2 p.m., no matter what, sharing and answering your questions. So once again, thank you so very much. And I will see you very, very soon. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Quite a chatterbox, aren't you?
Dude, that was like,
oh my!
I couldn't stop talking.
Seriously, that was amazing.
I couldn't stop talking.
Dude, I'm like, oh my god, cut her off.